Hi guys, and welcome to my review of the Hidizs MS1 Galaxy. This is the latest IEM from Hidizs. It is a single DD. It is priced at under $20, so it's a budget product. It is their newest entry-level budget product. It substitutes the previous MS1, which is over here. Look, straight into the box. There's really nothing to say here other than it's a simple affair, straight to the point. Brings some tips which are okay. The cable is, I guess, as well okay. It's nothing special. It is, after all, a budget product. I mean, you can get this from certain AliExpress stores for around $15, so it is really budget. However, being budget doesn't mean that it doesn't have actually a pretty decent build. And in the build department, it is quite nicely built. It is a plastic shell, but it is nicely finished. It looks the part. I'm using actually a nice HDK cable. It costs more than the actual IEM, but that's, it is what it is. Tips, I'm using Fudu, Tangzu Fudu tips. No special reason. I usually use the KB ears, as you guys know, but just thought I'd go with the Fudus. They gave the same performance and they work perfectly, so why not? But back to the actual earphones. Nice build, it's plastic shell, like I said, but it's well put together. Looks a little bit kind of general or generic, the shell shape and size. Fits nicely, no issues with the fit. Isolates pretty decently as well. It does allow for a nice deep fit with this relatively long stem here that it has. And ultimately, yeah, I mean, it's fine in terms of its let's say hardware part of things. It's fine. It's well within what is to be expected for this price bracket. Anyway, what do I have here to compare with the MS1? Obviously, the original MS1, which, I mean, comparing these two, the difference and the improvement is marked. And then I've selected just a few IEMs. I mean, there's loads of under $20 IEMs, budget IEMs. So it was pointless for me to try now and get all of them. And it's going to be very easy to position the Galaxy. On this left-hand corner here, we've got the S-Core Venus, an IEM that has gone very, very much under the radar. Very, very much under the radar, and very nice. It's one of the nicest IEMs out of this selection that I've got here. Next to that Tanstrom one had to be, this, the S-Core Venus, actually, before I carry on, this is available for about $14. This is about $18. Next to that, the Tanstrom, we've got the Moondrop Shoe 2, about as well the same $20 price bracket. KZ-ZVX, around $18 right now. CVJ TXS, about $14 over here. Okay, and then on the right hand side here, the SimGot EW100, around $19. So all of them under the $20 limit. All of them have a specific sound, specific characteristics to their sound. The SimGot is probably, out of this bunch here, the most detailed, the most audiophile, if you want to put it that way. So for those that don't like too much bass but like a nice audiophile, detailed, clinical presentation, that's probably the one to go. If, however, you want the same sort of presentation but a little bit more full in the bass department, with that nice bass line to accompany a lot more genres, definitely the Tanstrom one. I mean, it is one of my favorite IEMs under $20, and a welcomed return of Tanstrom to former glory days. It's also available in the DSP version, and honestly, if I was to buy, I would buy the DSP version because the cable is removable and the units themselves are exactly the same. So basically, you can have either the one being used with the DSP cable if you're in the gym or something of the sort, or just going out for a jog or something along those lines. But if you want to have a more serious listen, the one does improve with a nice source, and you can listen to it at home as well, and actually be very surprised by how competent it is. The Moondrop Shoe 2, a complete departure from the original shoe, much more V-shaped, way more bass. Overall, I think it's a better IEM. It's a more complete IEM. The shoe was good. It was the introduction of a more serious, a more mature type of tuning to the budget market. But this, although you could say has lost some of that matureness, it's a hell of a lot more fun. So the shoe 2, the ZVX, typical ZVX, a typical KZ sound of the latest generation. So it's got a harmonish kind of a tune. The bass is a little bit more prominent than what the graph would lead you to believe when I show it to you in a second. Great IEM, built is perfect. I mean, it's a really nice IEM. There's really not much to falter. I actually think it's better than the DFI, in my opinion. The DFI, actually, out of the DFIs, the non-switch version is the better one of the two DFIs, and the non-switched compared to the ZVX, you know, they both have very good things going for it. The driver is slightly different, but they both are very competent. And then here the CVJ, the TXS, it's got tuning switches that does a little minor tweak to the tuning. Very competent IEM as well, very nice. MS1 Galaxy, in terms of its mids and its highs, so mids, upper mids, and treble. When I show you the graph now in a second, you'll understand. It's very much comparable to the likes of the KZ, the TXS, the Escort, even the Moondrop. It's got that same style of tuning there. Where they've, in my opinion, maybe overemphasized is the mid bass, and what that ultimately means is that then there's a bit of bleeding to the mids, and it kind of smothers the mids, and then vocals, especially male vocals, well, especially female vocals, but male vocals will become a little bit excessively husky. Female vocals are husky, so they're not true to their nature. You lose a little bit of that cleanliness or that brightness, and instruments are a little bit overly thick. So it is a fun presentation. I mean, if you're going to listen to EDM, if you're going to listen to electronic music, pop, and so on and so forth, I mean, the Galaxy is fantastic. It does the job nicely, but it isn't something that you would listen to a lot of vocals. It isn't something that you would listen to well, surely not monitoring with, but it is not something that's going to be more versatile with many genres of music. I guess you could also enjoy some rock, yeah, because of all that mid-bass energy that it has. But overall, it's an IEM that's been tuned to be under the $20 price bracket with a sound which is not going to offend anybody really, compared to its original. I mean, the difference is monumental, although the bass is basically the same, while this one then had mids, upper mids, and treble, which were just excessive, and were lacking polish. This one, no, that section there has been sorted out. It's been done perfectly. It's just that the bass, in my opinion, is a little bit on the excessive side, and I think they could have made maybe, or actually introduced a little bass switch. It's switches and tuning nozzles and so on and so forth. They've become so common, so they could actually have introduced a little tuning switcher to along the lines of what the TXS has from CVJ, where you could add or subtract the treble a little bit, the bass a little bit. No, even KZ has done that as well with the DFI, but they could have done it and still, I think, maintain the price within the $20 range, and I think that would have completely changed the dynamics of the Galaxy in a significant manner. It would have made for a way more technically capable IEM. I mean, it's fun, it's engaging, it's a nice bouncy IEM, okay, but it's not, I mean, the soundstage is closed, it's not a very expensive soundstage. Imaging also suffers from that excessive bass presence, detailed retrieval, the same thing, so it's not in terms of its technical capability, it's not a highly competent IEM. It is just fun, that's it. Compared to the options that we have, I mean, look, compared to the Escort, which is the first one I'm going to be comparing it, they share very much the same sort of mids, upper mids, and treble, but here the bass is being brought down to where it should be, and the Escort is an absolute pleasure to listen to. I mean, I was listening back and forth with the Tanstrom, and honestly, the Tanstrom only really outdoes it in a little bit extra extension past 8K. That's the only place where this outdoes the Escort. Even in the bass, the quality of the bass here, okay, and the quantity of the bass is better. There's a slightly more quantity, but it's not really the quantity, it's the quality, it's the slam of the bass that you get here on the Venus, which actually impresses. And the Venus, mind you, it looks like a product that's maybe coming out of, I don't know, KZ's factory or something, because the shell looks very familiar. It looks familiar to previous KZ offerings. The driver itself looks very familiar, so I wouldn't be surprised It is, like I said, it is very nicely tuned. I was surprised. I was not expecting it. They've got another model, a 1+1 called the Adonis, which I'll also be reviewing shortly. So compared to the S-Core Venus, the Venus is a superior IEM. The Tensstrom, I think I don't really need to say. It is a better IEM overall. I mean, if what you want is just pure slam, then fine. But if you want to listen to music, like, this one is also a better IEM. The same thing goes with the Moondrop shoe too. It's got loads of bass, but the mids are there, the highs are there. Everything is very balanced. Everything just it really is a very nice IEM. The shoe too. I prefer it to the original one. The KZ, again, the same situation. The bass, although it doesn't seem as present as you would think by looking at the graph, no, it's got more than enough bass and it's there in enough quantity. The only area where it starts to sometimes get to the limit is around that 4.5 to 6.5K area. For me, depending on where the volume level is, I can feel it being a little bit intense, but it doesn't hurt me, doesn't bug me, but it gets a little bit intense. So that's the only area there where I would call it a minor detail, minor defect to the ZVX. The TXS, very much the same thing. It's got more mid bass than the KZ. Almost the same sort of mid bass as here. But because the mids, upper mids and treble are more energetic, it just is more balanced out. It actually comes out as a more balanced listen. In that aspect, I must say that certain songs that Up and Up from Jeff Ryan, certain songs with wind instruments and so on, which can sometimes be a negative point for some IEMs in the Hidizs, that's not a problem. And it's not a problem because the bass that's there actually helps control everything. But even if the bass wasn't as prominent, it would still be in check, because like I said, in that department it's very similarly tuned to the S-Core, and the S-Core as well, perfect. And then finally with the EW100, they just are way too different. They are completely different. I mean, a person that likes this will definitely not like that, and a person that likes that will not like this. They are way too different to even possibly be compared. So there you have it, guys. It's a nice take from Hidizs in terms of it's an improvement over the original, but I think it could do with a little extra touch of an extra improvement. Let's put it that way. The bass just a little bit less. That's all. The bass just a little bit less, and I think the Galaxy would have been spot on. Anyway, I'll show you now quickly the graphs, and we'll wrap it up. Hi guys, and welcome now to the graph section of the Hidizs MS1 Galaxy. And as you can see, it's like I mentioned in the review. I mean, in terms of the way that the mids, upper mids and treble are done, this is nice. It's got a nice and progressive gain. I mean, 74 to 83, so everything sits within a 9 dB window, roughly peaking at 4 and then dropping, and then a couple of related peak here, and then drops off. So this part here is quite nice. What isn't nice is the excessive bass that it has. I mean, this has got a lot of bass, and it's not that the bass is bad quality. No, it's not bad quality, but it's not also if it had a little bit extra cleanliness, maybe the thing would have come together nicer. But we're talking again of the bass, so 70, 73, 80, so 9 dBs there, 73, 14 dBs almost of gain into the bass. So too much, it's just too much. Okay, anyway, compared straight away with the S-Core, the Venus, as you can see, very similar, the S-Core Venus up top, very similar, but a much more controlled bass output. So what that basically means is, while on the Hidizs it's skewed towards the bass, on the Venus, as you can see, everything is balanced. So basically what you have, the bass and the mids kind of are corresponding to each other, 10 dBs either way, V-shaped, yes, there's some bleed, but not as much, and overall it just sounds nice, way more balanced, way more coherent, way more making sense, let's put it that way. Okay, compared now to the Moondrop, the Shoe 2, it's got ultimately the same sort of sub bass, so below 50, let's put it that way. It's quite intense. I mean, we're talking about a gain which again approximates itself to 10, well, almost 11 dBs actually. But no mid bass excess, so no bleed into the mids, or very minimal really, and it just sounds very nice. It just sounds super engaging, super satisfying, peaking at 3K, dropping off kind of a harmonish. Nice. The Shoe 2 is very nice for the price. Really, no serious complaints there. Compared to the ZVX, actually, curiously, if you put the Shoe 2, you see the ZVX and the Shoe 2 kind of have the same sort of vibe in terms of their graph, okay? But compared to the ZVX does have a little bit more mid-bass than what is shown here, not as what you would think. But what ultimately this translates to, and earlier when I was talking, maybe I didn't explain that properly, is because there's a little bit less mid-bass here than what actually is shown, and still that mid-bass is relatively low as compared to the energy that we have in the upper mids and treble. This area around 4, 5, 6 can sometimes be just a little bit intensive, okay? But it's more because of the, let's say, thinness of the mid-bass here, which again, I repeat, it's not as thin as what it looks here. I would say it's got maybe another 3 dBs on top of this, okay? That's my perception. It's not as thin sounding as this, okay? Next one, the SimGot EW100. Again, that same sort of thin bass. You can actually see if I put the KZ with it. Let me just take away here the Hidizs. If I put the KZ, the ZVX, same sort of thing. So you also have that same kind of very lean bass, which doesn't bleed into the mids or anything. But on the KZ, it does sound thicker, more present than it does on the EW. Okay. And compared to the Hidizs, the Galaxy, I mean, it's noticeable. This is skewed towards the mids, upper mids, so perfect IEM for vocals. Very nice in terms of its technical capabilities. It's got a nice big sound stage. For an IEM at under $20 to have this sort of technical, prowess, it's pretty good. It's pretty good, I have to say. The next one is the CVJ, the TXS, which I would say the CVJ, and going back here quickly to the KZ so you can understand, I would say that this is the kind of bass that actually the KZ has, because this is, when I listen to one and the other, in the bass department they sound very, very equal. Where you do again see what I was talking about, that energy is around the 4, 5, 6K area. The TXS also has the same issue as the KZ. It has a little bit extra energy there, which just is a little bit too much. Compared to the Hidizs, the balance overall, the struck is better. So this does have some capable technicalities. It does have detail retrieval. It does have a decent soundstage, imaging, so on. In terms of timbre and tonality, again better. The timbre and tonality of the Hidizs of the Galaxy ends up suffering because it's just excessively done. It's just too thick. Okay, and then finally, well, not finally, there's another one I'm going to be showing you, but finally the Tensstrom, the one compared to, sorry, not that one there, compared to the Hidizs. The Tensstrom, the one, again, not the same sort of bass, but you can see that, funny enough, it actually has a very similar sort of mid and upper mid curve, and even treble to a certain extent. It's just that then that extension on the Tensstrom is much better, and it's got true technicalities. Far superior IEM to the Galaxy. I mean, it really is superior. It's got the bass that's needed to make things engaging. So when you compare it to something like, for example, the SimGot, like I was just a second ago having, they graph very similar, but the Tensstrom just sounds fuller, more satisfying, and it's more capable with more genres of music. All right. So, and just out of curiosity, as I also mentioned, this is the S-Gore Venus, and you can understand why I was saying that the S-Gore Venus was giving me a lot of vibes of the Tensstrom one, because they graph very similarly. Again, it's just really up top that the Tensstrom one takes the lead. All right, and then finally comparing the Hidizs, the Galaxy, with the original MS1. This is the original MS1, and you can see, yes, the bass, they basically haven't touched it. This is then no, not really what I would recommend. I have, and I can just show you, I have actually retuned an MS1 to my liking, and the retuned MS1. Let me just show you now here quickly. Where is it? Here we go. This is the retuned MS1, and the retuned MS1 is what I think is having the bass that the Galaxy should have had. All right. Actually, the similarity between my retuned original MS1 and the MS1 Galaxy is quite significant, especially in the mids, up mids and treble. It loses a little bit up top, okay, but it's not as noticeable because it hasn't got the amount of bass. This sort of bass is the bass that the MS1 Galaxy should have had. I mean, okay, if anyone from Hidizs is watching, this is the bass that it needed. If it had this bass, we'd be talking a completely different IEM, which would be, significantly more competitive and be able to trade blows with this very competitive market. All right. Anyway, guys, as always, like and subscribe. Any questions you might have, please feel free to ask. And that's it. I'll see you in the next one. Take care now.